So there's a major shakeup going on. We know that's been going on in the brass. Now, the reason I've got this next gentleman on is because he came off to me, and I said this privately when he was on with us last year and then earlier this year. I said, that guy's probably is like a CIA operative or something, just the way he acts, the whole 9 yards. The cover of being in China, running a big language school, and then getting girls that they were going to kill, abort in the womb out of the country. Sounds like a white side type guy. I even said that to the crew. You guys remember me saying that this guy's just, I'll use the term they spin and say is racist, but it has nothing to do with that. The point is, I don't know if he is. He just comes off like he's not lying. I know other people that know him that say he's a good guy. And his name is Dr. James Garrow, Ph.D., and he runs the pinkpagodagirls.com. It's saved over 45,000 Chinese girls from being aborted because they can guarantee they're going to be adopted. And I know he's got the classic cutout of somebody all over the world working in charities and things. He's gone public saying he was a high-level operative in covert operations and that his cover's been blown by Obama, and so he's going public now. We have a lot of people like Tosh Chumley on, is famous for the CIA contractor, testified to Congress. He's on here 2 weeks ago. He's on Fox News yesterday. I've had the Navy SEALs blow the whistle to me on the murder and blowing 23 of them up, and the bin Laden raid was fake. They killed an old guy that looked similar to him who actually worked for him. It was all staged. That's now all come out in mainstream news. In those cases, though, I'm meeting with a Navy SEAL I know is a Navy SEAL. Or in the case of Chumley, I'll call him Plumley, I can go look it up that he's a famous whistleblower from the Church Committee in Iran-Contra and is who he says he is and is currently still working in that. You're like, well, why didn't he lose his job doing that? Because that's the job he's done. He didn't tell the secrets that were illegal. He told secrets in whistleblowing. Okay, so I don't know if what our guest is going to say is completely accurate, but enough of the things he said in the past have come true that he's on with us. Like he said last year here, and then earlier this year here, there's a purge of military brass, and we saw that with Benghazi. Now it's admitted that's been going on. They've replaced 3 chairmen of the Joint Chiefs the last 7-8 years, and then they've replaced multiple members of the Joint Chiefs who won't nuke Iran or start this whole war, who don't want to give heat-seeking missiles to al-Qaeda. The ambassador didn't want to, so they had to kill him. Here's the headline, bombshell, Jim Garrow reveals career as covert CIA operative. I don't know if that headline's accurate because he said he's not going to reveal what agency because of agreements. Says Breitbart Tom Clancy murdered by Obama administration. Now, I know Tom Clancy was reportedly a listener. I know Tom Clancy was fed a lot of high-level stuff. That's come out. Now, I happen to know people that know the family of Breitbart, and they said he was having heart problems. But that's perfect then in a bar with wine to then kill him. I don't know. I know they do kill people. They killed the D.C. madam a month after she was on my show. And I warned her. And I'm going to shut up because we only got to the bottom of the hour to let him talk about it. He joins us, I guess, from his home in Canada, Dr. Jim Garrow. Jim, why are you going public? What's happened? And I mean, if you can't tell us what agency we're with, I guess that these folks got this headline wrong, saying CIA operative. I mean, tell us why you're going public. And I mean, you certainly have the history in the past where you've been, what you've done. I mean, it fits into everything. But why you are now going public, if that's the case?
Well, I basically have to, Alex. I mean, I've been outed, and when that happens to you, what do? You got to protect yourself. You got to cover your bases. You got to make sure that the information that's going to keep you alive is out in the right spots, with the right people, and that's basically my job at the moment. So coming on and saying to you, yeah, I've had a 45-year career doing what I've done for the country, and let's face it, we've been through some very interesting times, and the things that I've done will curl your hair. But it was of necessity, and it was a sign. So you do your job, and you go up the ranks. And of course, over the course of time, I've gone up to where I'm number 2 in my agency.
Well, you've got the floor. You've got the floor for 15 minutes. So tell us what you have to say and what's going on and this termination list you say you know about.
Well, let's face it. We've got a dictator, a tyrant who feels that he can do anything he wants above and beyond law. He's crushing the Constitution, and anyone who dares to stand up and even question whether what he is doing is within law, within the purview of law or not. He cares not. So when you're up against an opponent like that, regular American citizens need to worry about their safety, their security. They need to worry that the oath of office has meant nothing to this man. He has an agenda that has nothing to do with the protection of the American republic, or the public at large. So you see the moves that he's making, and he is tearing the place apart. He's eviscerating the Constitution. And what he's doing, too, to back himself up is scaring the bejeezers out of people. Part of it is with strategic killing. And very important people have been killed around the world that you don't know about yet, but you'll find out about. And, of course, within our own country, we have people like Breitbart and Clancy. And then Hastings. I mean, Hastings had a ton of material. Some of it material that originated with Breitbart was in the hands of Clancy. And these people, I mean, how do I know these people? I fed Tom Clancy information from the days when I was working with the man who was the colonel in charge of modeling submarine warfare against America for China, who is now vice president.
Well, by the way, I know Steve Pachinik is who he says he is, and he's been feeding me info for 12 years. Why is my show continue to be the place to bring the info? I guess because I'm crazy enough to put it out?
Well, actually, it's you know what? It's because you're known to be a patriot, and you don't care. You don't give a hoot what people think. So you're putting it out there. I mean, the stuff that Jesse Ventura has brought forward with you, and other people have brought forward with you, and I won't name people, but I mean, they have brought stuff that has curled the hair of the public, and either you laugh or you cry. And frankly, they should be crying over what you bring forward. And the fact that you're unabashedly pro-America, a total patriot, I mean, they should be listening to you.
Do you have any info on these missing nukes?
Yes, but I can't say anything about that. But yes, absolutely. Keep in mind, you've had people on your program who've talked very clearly about EMPs going off, and be prepared. And this is all lining up along that line.
Oh, boy. Okay, so tell us what needs to be out there about operations. I mean, why you're going public. Yeah, you say Obama blew your cover. Why?
Well, I blew his. I talked about the litmus test of the military, and of course, look what's happening. Since the day that I let it out there, because one person was being pressured, who happened to be a favorite of the gentleman who told me what was going on. And since that time, I've had dozens of military people call me, Skype me, or special message me about their own dilemmas. And I've had chats with some of the folks that we are now aware have been pushed out. The bottom line is looking for fealty. Obama is looking for people to bend the knee to him and him alone. It doesn't matter what their position might be, or the responsibilities they have, whether it's nuclear weapons, whether it's covert operations, whether it's secrets beyond belief. Everyone is to bow the knee to Obama. I will not bow my knee to Obama. Never would, never will.
Well, I mean, it's directly out of, not even North Korea does this, that if you joke with the TSA people, you're going to be arrested. I mean, these people really are trying to take over. There's no doubt.
Well, he's a spoiled brat. You're looking at a psychologically damaged individual who was never confronted as a child, never disciplined as a child, has had his own way, has been mollycoddled his entire life, and feels that he can get away with anything. Well, you know, the evidence that he has in hand and the power that he has in hand indicates to him that he, in fact, can get away with anything, including murder. Now, the problem is he has crossed certain lines with certain people, and he is scared skinny. Do you know who scares the daylights out of him right now?
No.
Believe it or not. Remember the bikers? I was there. 1.3 million people showed up in Washington. Not all of them organized, but many of them just there because of the cause itself. That scared the willies out of the man. Do you remember when he was standing there reading with such depth of feeling his teleprompter?
Yes.
Do you remember that? Do you remember when he paused just slightly? And it was because in the background he could hear the bikers. They were there. And the noise of that distracted him just enough to take his attention away from his dear teleprompter. Well, that's one thing. He's had to look at 1.3 million people. And the other thing is he turned off the cameras so that the news feed that would normally go out to the media showing traffic conditions, it was over. You couldn't see it. And he was hiding behind that. He was afraid. Next fear, truckers, then vets. The vet thing, what a stupid error on his part. Does he not know that these people are respected? And when compared to him, he's a dog. Compared to them, they're champions. And he's an idiot. He's a moron.
Well, I know this. They're destroying the infrastructure of this country. They're carrying out Agenda 21. They want to make everybody dependent. And they are insanely arrogant and arresting foreign tourists that show up at the Grand Canyon, not even speaking English, from Japan. I mean, they've created like this little federal security guard force that is on a psycho trip. If I was trying to cause a rebellion, this is what I would do. Are they trying to cause a rebellion, or are they such cowards they think the psychology that would intimidate them is going to intimidate us, because all it's going to do is backfire?
Well, keep in mind the Cloward-Piven strategy of create a crisis and then manage the crisis. And that's what he's doing. He's creating crises all over the place. It is so out of the box, this stuff that's going on, that he knows full well nobody's prepared to deal with this. How do you deal with this? No one's ever thought it's ever going to happen. No reasonable person would think that a president would do what he's doing. So here we are. He's winning the war of the crisis by creating it, managing it all the way, and no one is challenging him. Look at the people we've elected into the House. And what are they doing? What's Boehner doing? Boehner's busy losing when he's got victory right within his grasp. Instead of, sticking it to Obama and saying, look, hey, yeah, we'll deal with this debt ceiling. Sure, we'll give you a little edge this way or that way, but here's what you have to start stripping away.
Well, that's what's so frustrating is we always have victory right there if we just tell it like it is. But yes. but no one does it. They just sit there shaking in fear.
Well, I get the feeling you're going to see some military folks who have been outed, along with myself and others, who are going to start to stand up in public and saying, you know what? We know what's going on. We don't fear this man one bit, not one iota. And we're going to run for office. And then watch what happens.
Well, I'll say this. I think they've taken American confusion, or not even laziness, but just distraction as cowardice. I think now that they're openly pushing a fight, I think they're going to get one. I hope it's not physical. I hope it is informational. We just take the country back over. But shifting gears, because the interview's over in about 8 minutes, sir. There's a lot you have to say. You were telling me off air some things. What is it you want to impart to people? Because I am not just seeing what you're saying. I can't confirm what you're saying. I have a lot of people that I can confirm are high-level people and whistleblowers, and we are finding out who is for the tyranny, who is against, and we are seeing a lot of people on the inside leak info. That's got to concern the establishment.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, patriots are willing to do it because they realize they're not dealing with somebody who honors the Constitution. So why wouldn't they just push them aside? A journalist he's been searching me out for 2 years. He's been really, really thorough in what he's done. Eric Rush, I think I mentioned it before to you, the black guy who's on Hannity a lot and talks racial issues. This man has been sat by my side. He's examined me totally. He knows more than anyone else. He's going to come out with an article that's going to curl your hair when you find out what I've been involved in. No,
that's good. So we are going to have more coming out soon. But I mean, basically, you were telling me that you've had some problems, some harassment, some issues, and so that's why you're just protecting yourself to a certain extent by going public.
Yes, yeah, and the public needs to know that there are people like myself. There are people in positions of authority or previous positions of authority, like generals and admirals. And within my own agency, I mean, I was number 2 in command. And we did not answer directly, by the way, to the president, and that's something that people better be aware of. Some of what Tom Clancy even implied, or other people have implied in their novels, is actually true, that there's not necessarily a chain of command that starts with the president and works down. There are sidebar issues and sidebar agencies that are not readily known. But I'll tell you this, they're totally loyal to the Republic. And that is important for the public to know. There is hope that there is going to be a change.
Well, my concern is they could use these nukes to hold the country hostage. And, I mean, I know from the source, this really is the source, this happened, and then all Hades broke loose after we put that out. These generals being removed, admirals over the nukes, other stuff, Lindsey Graham running around saying we're going to get nuked. And I don't know exactly what's going on yet because my sources don't know. Yeah,
well, I warned you about the litmus test. Well, extrapolate on that. take that as a known value. Okay, they're asking, will you shoot Americans? Okay, if they won't allow you to confiscate their arms, will they allow you to go out, or will they follow your order and shoot Americans who won't bow the knee? That's an important starting point.
Why doesn't the military, if it's a foreign globalist enemy, just lie to Obama and his kleptocrats? Because if I was high level, I'd say, oh, yes, I'll shoot the Americans, and then I would start building an operation against them. Well,
they are. Frankly, they are. You know, if they're loyal to the Constitution and loyal to the people, obviously they're going to stay if they can. If they can't, if they're in a position where they have to, you know, either pledge fealty to the man or not, they're going to go out. They're going to leave because they know what's coming.
Sure. So if they're given an order that's so evil that they can't bluff anymore and claim they're loyal, then they just leave.
That's it. That's it. And you're watching it happen, and we know full well what's going on. I mean, the public are not stupid. They know when a high-level person in the military, whatever branch, leaves under a bit of a cloud.
Well, this is all the guys over the nukes. Number one and number two removed.
Yes. What does that tell you? Come on. What does that tell you? Somebody wants total control of the nukes. Total.
But again, what are they going to do about the Patriots when I know about nukes leaving a base within 2 hours of it happening?
Well, isn't that great that we have that information source? Isn't it wonderful? Now we know that they're leaving, where are they going to, and what are they being purposed for? That's the critical element.
Well, that's why they focus on Patriot whistleblowers, because that's the chink in Smog's armor.
You got it. You got it. Breitbart's now gone. Clancy's gone. And Hastings, of course, got blown up.
Well, Hastings, they clearly blew up. But, I mean, Clancy, it was like sudden illness gone. But, I mean, do you have info, or you think they killed Clancy?
I have info. I know full well. I know what the poison was they used on them, both of them. Yeah, yeah.
What is it, a poison that metabolizes out so they can't trace it?
Within 5 days. Why do you think they didn't post Clancy for 5 days? Gone from the system. Gone.
Well, look at Breitbart. I mean, the way they acted, it looked like there was something going on, saying he was dead 45 minutes after he was admitted, and it was natural causes without any type of autopsy until later. And then look at Hastings, how they cremated the body. The family wanted it. I know the family says he was killed, but they're scared.
Of course they're scared, and they should be. If they can get Breitbart, Clancy, and Hastings, then they can get any of us at any point in time, which is a private conversation you and I should be having, frankly, Alex, because you're going to be a key element in getting information and truth out.
Oh, you think I could be next on the list?
I think you're right up there at the top.
That'll be pretty obvious, won't it?
Well, wait a minute. Do they care? Do they care that Breitbart, the minute the guy who was right beside Breitbart after he'd collapsed saw that his face was bright red? Do you know what that was? That's the poison. Nobody goes bright red when they're having a heart attack. Opposite.
They turn white. They turn ashen.
You turn ashen, gray, and then blue.